All right, we're live. I'm gonna wait about 2 minutes for people to join, so we will start at the 8:02 mark. So welcome in, make yourself at home for about 2 minutes, and then we'll get started. I guess we can do an icebreaker. What did everyone have for breakfast today? Or if you're a breakfast person or not. Personally, I'm a huge breakfast person. I think I fell to the belief that it's the most important meal of the day. Zach, did you have breakfast today?
My breakfast entails a cup of black coffee, typically. But my weird trait is I usually start my day at around 4 a.m. So I'm eating lunch at like 9 a.m. So maybe my breakfast is sometimes lunch. I'm not sure.
Okay, we got a lot of things to work out there.
Yeah, I'm a morning person.
Oh, man. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We have a bunch to go over with you guys today. So welcome to our webinar, Don't Manage, Migrate, Playbooks for Moving Your Data Workloads. I wanted to take a second and introduce myself. My name is Nicole Gawash. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at DigitalOcean for Managed Databases. I'm located in one of the tech hubs of the world, the Bay Area, and I'm delighted to be accompanied by Zach Pierce, so I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, so I'm Zach. I'm the Senior Product Manager for our Managed Databases offering. So here at DO, we have 6 different database engines that we offer as a fully managed service, and I'm responsible for product management for all of that. I am based outside of Denver, Colorado, so right at the foothills of the Rockies.
Nice. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Very excited. So the agenda today, we're going to go over DigitalOcean for anyone who's brand new. And then we're going to go over managed databases, and then we're going to talk about why you should consider migrating. That's the big question we have here. And then we're going to go over our playbooks. Me and Zach are just going to have kind of like a fireside chat type situation. And then during that time, you can also feel free to put in your questions. But after the playbooks discussion, we will have a formal Q&A. So save your questions towards the last 2 sections, and we'll do our best to answer them. We definitely have time allotted for your guys' questions as we want to build this webinar for you. Okay, so just a little overview of what you will gain from this session. You're going to gain insights and learn more about the different strategies around migrating to manage databases particularly, although we will touch on other products. And then the second thing is you're going to get a walkthrough of our self-help migration tools. Zach has prepared some brief demos, so that will be very helpful for you guys. And then the last thing is we're going to, like I mentioned before, engage in a live Q&A. With our PM here, with myself as well, and you can get your questions answered. So make sure you write them down and put them in the comments, and we'll get to them there. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to go over why DigitalOcean for anyone who is brand new. So the question, it really comes down to 3 things. Why DigitalOcean? Simplicity, scalability, and approachability. For simplicity, we make cloud infrastructure easy to use, and that is our main mission here. We want you to focus on building, not managing servers, not self-management, database management, etc. We also have noticed that due to this simplicity, customers have seen a 30% lower TCO, and they can set up their environments in half the steps compared to other providers. So we have the numbers to show for it. We are dedicated to simplicity. And then second, scalability. Whether you're just starting out, you are a startup, or you are not even within the funding phase of a startup, you're an individual developer, or you're running a high traffic app for a private or a public company, we grow with you. We provide you the tools and infrastructure you need to scale your business as it grows. to get through high demand eras, low demand eras, and our statistics stand by this. Again, you'll see we have around 2 million droplets. We have around 221 petabytes of customer data currently as of today, and 77 billion objects in storage. So we are helping businesses all around the world in all different phases of conception scale. And then lastly, I want to talk about approachability. So building on the cloud should be easy, whether you're a curious developer, you are coming in for educational purposes, or you're a C-suite executive. It should be built for everyone. We truly believe that here. It should be easy, predictable, well-documented. And that's why we offer straightforward pricing. We offer around 8,000 tutorials, highlighting our well documentation feature. And then we have around 24/7 support. We have an average response rate of under 5 hours. So we are dedicated to building an approachable cloud. No surprises, just a reliable cloud built for uptime, built for high availability, built for developers and businesses, no matter which phase they're in, you could say. Okay, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about our global footprint. So we deliver reliable infrastructure all around the world and network connectivity that you, businesses like you, can trust worldwide. So you'll see we have 15 data centers. We actually just launched our Atlanta data center, so that is really exciting. It's across 9 regions, and then we support over 638,000 customers in 190 countries. So we have these numbers, we have this track record of uptime combined with SLAs, service level agreements of uptime and performance to help businesses all around the world scale with confidence. So we're very proud of this, and we plan to expand our digital footprint in the future. Okay, managed databases. So I want to touch over this at a high level. And then, of course, if you have any questions, put them in the comments on specific engines, etc. But let's start with a bird's eye view of our entire platform. So at DigitalOcean, we offer a full stack cloud platform to meet the needs of, again, startups, SMBs, individual developers, growing businesses. So whether you're just starting up or building to scale a business that's already been launched, pretty much anywhere in between. Our suite of products and services, our wide range of products and services, can help you to build not only reliably, but also innovatively. So today we will be talking about managed databases. We have it highlighted there. And I want to just kind of first take a second to highlight how managed databases works into the ecosystem of our suite of products. We won't go into it today, but the point I'm trying to make here is that we offer a very comprehensive cloud. Okay, so let's drill a little bit deeper into managed databases. So we currently offer 6 fully managed database engines listed on the screen here. Our most recent one was managed caching for Valkey. That was exciting. We released that in late April. And then we also have, a variety of other database engines. So you'll see we have popular relational databases like MySQL and Postgres. And then we also have a document database like MongoDB. And then on the right, you'll see that we have more specialized databases. We have caching for Valkey. We have Kafka, which is suited for, caching for Valkey is suited for obviously caching workloads. And then Kafka is more, purpose-built for apps that require streaming platforms. So, for example, Kafka is suited for Internet of Things, gaming development, streaming, video or online streaming, and things of that nature. And then we have OpenSearch. It is a logs management, a logs analytic platform. And then that is suited for use cases like logs management, real-time analytics, searchability, observability, and monitoring. So we have on the left, just to kind of go over it again, on the left, we have our more popular, like common databases, and then on the right we have our more specialized ones. So next slide, we will go into, we talked about the databases. I want to talk about the database performance. So this slide I wanted to show you guys because it shows how all of our 6 database engines that we currently offer stand up against competitors in terms of performance. So as you can see, we beat AWS, GCP, and Azure in terms of out-of-the-box performance by 30%. So simply put, we outperform the nearest hyperscalers by 30%. And you can also see that in terms of cost efficiency, throughput per dollar. You can see at the chart on the right, it's even more impressive. So DigitalOcean outperforms the nearest hyperscaler by 42%. So this can be attributed to a lot of things. One of them being how quickly we advance our database engines. We have over 10 feature enhancements and new products coming to our DBaaS offering. We had over 10 feature enhancements between Q1 and Q2. And we have more planned for this upcoming year. Okay, so this last one I'm going to go over quickly because I want to get to the migration playbooks, but this is showing to you that we deliver hyperscaler level SLAs and uptime at up to a 30% lower cost than the nearest hyperscalers. So you'll notice this is applicable to a wide range of products, touching on the fact that, again, we are a comprehensive cloud platform. And so the point here is that you can build a well-rounded app with our wide range of products and have a peace of mind knowing that it is built to stay running. Okay, so at this point, let's bring Zach in for our conversation about playbooks for moving your data workloads.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me back. So first, I want to really kind of set some expectations for the perspective that I'm bringing for this presentation. So I'm product manager. I introduced myself as that. So this presentation you're about to watch isn't focused on the hard details, exactly how you migrate, the best ways to do for every situation. What I'm really trying to bring is, I'm trying to share that migrations are a business priority, and they do have product or kind of strategic impact and interest. So if we jump into the next slide, I'll have a few reasons that highlight why. So first off, why migrate? Well, there's lots of reasons. These are some of the most strategic reasons, though, that I want to make sure we're kind of getting into. Our goal in offering a managed database service is to make sure that your team doesn't get bogged down in maintenance and managing your database, and can really focus on building the solutions that really drive value and revenue to your business. We also want to make sure that you can scale, and that you can scale without downtime, and that you can scale when you need, and your application always is performant. And then the final thing that I think really makes DO's managed offerings really special is we are trying to give you really predictable and kind of optimized cloud economics. We touched on the 30% lower total cost of ownership. We do that because we do focus on simplicity. We do focus on making sure that you don't have to have a DBA watching your database 24/7. And again, just really driving more value to your business. So let's jump into the next slide, and we'll kind of talk about what are some of the strategies we're talking about today. So we're going to cover 4 different strategies. I don't think any of these will be a huge surprise, but we are also going to give you kind of tips and things to look out for each of these strategies. So the first one we'll cover is the lift and shift. Then we'll jump into lift and tune, and I'll really kind of talk about the differences because their titles are similar because they are similar, but they do have some key kind of critical differences that we will dive into. I'm then going to just show you a quick walkthrough of how you migrate your data on to DigitalOcean's managed database products through our self-service platform. And then we're going to really segue to the big projects. We're going to talk about refactoring and rebuilding and some different approaches that you can take as you jump into this. So I think, Nicole, if you're ready, let's let's talk about our first playbook.
Yeah, okay, let me just make sure. I have everything working here. Okay, so the first playbook, classic lift and shift. Tell me what this one is about. Start from the beginning.
Yeah, so lift and shift is where we're really kind of focused on speed and ease. What you're basically going to do is you're just picking up your database wherever it is today, whether you're managing it on-prem or it's on another cloud provider, or maybe it's on your home server, wherever it is. We're going to focus on just taking that database exactly as it is and where it lives, and shifting it over to the DO cloud. So this really is the most common approach that we see when speed is the absolute most critical criteria. So maybe there's some sort of disaster recovery situation, or maybe you just can't really modify your data and you need to deliver value to your business by moving it quickly. So that's when we're talking about lift and shift. You're basically going to kind of copy and paste your configuration in your data.
Okay. I see that you have that. It's very easy. The effort is very easy. So I also see on the right-hand side that you suggest to research and optimize, but isn't this the easiest one, you said? So what things are you suggesting that people research?
Yeah, so this is where we get into, there is some overlap, and all of these playbooks that we're going to talk about might have some overlaps. So researching and optimizing for a lift and shift is you have to find the right place to put your data. And then once it's there, you want to make sure that you do at least preliminary optimization to ensure that you're structured for how that cloud works. For example, some other providers might have a different shape of their database cluster that they offer. So they might force you into a single node cluster with 2 gigs of RAM, and but that gives you 50 gigs of storage, where on managed databases or any other offering you might lift and shift to, you might need to go to 4 gigs of RAM and changing your configuration. So we're not necessarily talking about the optimization and doing a ton of research, but it's just, kind of checking the boxes, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, so to say.
Okay. And then underneath the do part, we have avoid. So I see that you want to avoid the chatty neighbor. But like, say, for example, I have more than a database. I have an app. So what should I consider then?
Yeah. So, there's lots of, we understand that migration isn't just about your database. You have applications that are powering your database. So the key things to really avoid are, you need to figure out a place to put your app. DigitalOcean, we have Droplets if you need VMs. We have a Kubernetes or app platform if you need something more scalable like that. So we just really we want to make sure that you're moving your whole workloads. And then back to that kind of optimize, like, just because you're doing a quick copy paste move doesn't mean you should follow a one-to-one pattern. It's not necessarily going to give you the 30% total cost of ownership benefits that you want. The other thing I really want to address before we jump into the next one is I marked scalability is really low. And it's not that DigitalOcean is unable to scale, but in taking these approaches, typically your infrastructure isn't optimized for rapid scaling. So you can scale. You're not losing the ability to scale in the future, but every scale change you need to make, you will have to own and do, which is kind of a nice segue into our next playbook.
Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about our next playbook.
Yeah. So now we're moving to lift and tune. So where this is really different compared to our last strategy is we're encouraging you to really take the time to understand the destination and understand how it's configured, and look at the low-hanging fruit for ways you can change configuration settings or that you may be able to restructure your database. So this is the method we suggest you take when your primary goals are really to move into a managed service, particularly because with the managed service, while you get a ton of features, you do lose a little bit of control.
Okay. So if this, let's talk about this migration strategy within the context of managed databases, right? Because that's what we're talking about today. So I know managed databases comes with automatic backups, but tell me what other features are available for managed databases here within this migration strategy.
Yeah, so automated backups are absolutely critical. Other features that we support out of the box, we do have an SLA. So we give you those uptime guarantees. Of course, you never want to use it, but it's nice to have that assurance that it's there. We're also going to give you features around high availability. So even a single node cluster, if there is some sort of failure, it will automatically recover. You will have some downtime, but it will recover. So that's not high availability. The high availability aspect is we also do have multi-node clusters that you can configure with just a couple clicks. So if your application supports a business critical need that you need to be up 99.95% of the time, then high availability is going to be is going to be the option you want to select. Some of the other things, we allow you to fork your database. We allow you to restore point in time. We allow you to do point in time recovery. So there are a ton of other features. And I think that really leads us to some of our suggestions you make sure you do is like run that realistic POC, connect in your app in staging or dev and try it out. You can spin up a managed database with just a few clicks. So doing that early and kind of playing with it and seeing what features really will benefit you and how that might change your workflows will be absolutely critical.
Okay, so I mean, with all of those out of the box features, I feel like this one feels like a no-brainer, the lift and tune migration strategy. So why, like, is this not one and done? Like, why even bother with the other playbooks?
Yeah, so you're definitely going to run into some limitations that around what you can control. So our managed database service, for instance, you won't have SSH access. So you will be limited to the functionality that we can guarantee we can support and gives you that high level of uptime. We're also going to have different sets of configurations that you're allowed to do. So if you're coming in MySQL, your my.cnf, we might not be able to support a one-to-one copy of that. With that being said, this is where tuning comes into play because we can meet your needs. We're confident in that, but you might need to make a few adjustments to your app and to your configuration so that you see success in your migration.
Okay, so there's certain limitations, but it still seems pretty easy. I feel like, you know, migrating is easy, but I know that there's some risks involved with it. I know that we have a demo, so I think that it'd be a
Yeah,
good show that.
yeah. Let's jump into this. So we're at the state now where you've created your managed database on DigitalOcean managed database. For this example, we're using MySQL. You can see that kind of in the fuzzy background. So once your database cluster is configured and is ready to go, when you go into the overview page, we have this nice purple banner that you can click to say, migrate your existing MySQL database. So go ahead and move to the next side. So all you'll do is simply click the Setup Migration button. From here, we have 3 different ways you can connect to your existing database. You can either connect through a host name, you can connect through flags, or you can connect if it's on the same VCP. So you'll just input your connection details. Nothing here should be that surprising. I think we've all used a tool like MySQL dump or similar for this. So you're basically telling our application, hey, where do I need to go get the data? How to get there, how to reach it, what ports you need to go into, your database names, and then your username and password. Of course, we do recommend you keep SSL enabled, and that's just going to ensure that everything's encrypted end to end, because when we're getting your data into the database as well, it's encrypted at rest. on Postgres and MySQL. So
Right.
once you've got all your connection details in, and this is the part that I don't have a UI to show you because we don't have a UI for this. Because again, here at DO, we believe in making things simple. So simplicity in this fact is like, you don't need to know all the behind the scenes work. So what we're doing when you hit test connection here is we're connecting to your database. We're making sure firewall rules are going to let us through. We're validating that your configuration and replication settings are valid. Your bin logs are set up properly. The versions are compatible. We're doing a number of checks to really make sure that your database will be successfully able to come over to DBaaS, our managed databases. So once we've done those checks, you're then just going to see your migration is in process. Depending upon how large your data size is, this could take anywhere from a couple minutes to, larger database sizes can be a day. So if you do have those large workloads, reach out to us. We have a white glove migrations program that is able to help with some of those really complex large migrations as well. So anyways, your migration is going to process. We're transferring over the data. So in MySQL, what that looks like is we're basically using MySQL dump to pull out all of your data from your existing table. And then we're using your bin logs to then play back replication so that once your data is ready, once your data is fully migrated over into our database, we then replay all of your queries to get your data kind of so that they're equivalent. And then we disable the replication when you're ready. So your migration will complete. Once your migration is completed, this time that's where it's critical for you to really change where you're reading and writing from. So this is when you'd want to redirect your app so that you make sure you don't have to restart the migration again later on. So we do try to make it really easy. We've taken out a lot of those details I just walked through. You don't have to worry about them. We're taking care of it for you. And so as you want to come onto our managed database service, it is just, you can do it in a couple of clicks and knowing your connection details.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. I gotta say, between these slides that you showed us, it looks very simple. So just another testament to the simplicity of our platform.
Yeah, well, that's why internally here at DigitalOcean, we say DO simple, and we really embrace that. So there are places where we can't make everything simple, but we do try to make the default pathway simple so that no matter what you need to accomplish, hopefully you can do it in just a couple of clicks.
Right.
So we talked about simple. Now let's move into the more complex. So if we jump into the next playbook, this is where we're going to really start getting into these big, heavy, challenging migration projects. And the first one is refactoring. So when you need to refactor, when you need to do it's morning. When you're looking at a project, kicking off a refactoring project, you're really doing this because you probably have some tech debt that you finally need to knock out. And coming into a new cloud is really a good opportunity to clean up, because our first strategy that we'll suggest in most cases is this lift and tune. So if you're tuning, you might as well look at where are the places that you can do a little bit more work, a little bit of refactoring, kind of technical debt elimination, so to say, and then really rebuild your application for more resilience and scalability. So
Sorry, I apologize, my mic was muted. Sorry, go ahead, go on.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that we want to keep in mind as we're looking at these refactoring is recognize this is a big project, and so we need to go into it with a lot of like a lot of planning and kind of a strategy mapped out. And I think you'll typically know when you need to do this because you have a monolith, or you're you had a failover that didn't go well. So you know that you really need to kind of fix your application.
Okay, so this was my question. So you made the point that refactoring is a large effort. Are there ways to divide the migrations into smaller pieces or to allocate some of that effort to other team members?
Yeah. So I think this is where we're really kind of getting into a little bit of our do's and don'ts, or what to things to do and what to avoid. So as you're looking at your application, you're looking at refactoring. Also keep in mind your options. So with managed database, we have 6 different engines, and those different engines will are optimized for different things. So definitely use the polyglot persistence and make sure that you're using the right tool for the right job. So if you're having challenges with scaling your reads, putting our managed caching service that's powered by Valkey on top of that is going to be a really great opportunity to improve those read times. If you're running into problems with queuing and event management, or you are breaking down that monolith and changing to a lot of microservices, checking out Kafka as an option to kind of manage your queue and streams is the no-brainer. So it's really look at the problems that your application is having and look at places that you can plug in an out-of-the-box solution that we offer, so that you can kind of do just one project at a time. You don't need to do everything all at once.
Okay. So I think we covered our do's and don'ts. That was kind of my next big question. Is there anything else you wanted to point out on this screen?
Yeah, so I want to highlight that a big reason to do this is scalability. So while we rated these, we put effort and time. It's going to take more time. It's going to be more challenging. But this is really buying you all of the scalability, kind of future proofing that you might want, because you're using the right tool for the right job instead of using one tool to do every job. So yeah, I think then now we can jump into our final playbook.
Okay, rebuilding. Let's do it.
Yeah, so finally we're at rebuilding.
Okay.
And go ahead.
No, I just was trying to see what I wanted to talk about on this one, but you go ahead first and then I'll ask my questions.
Yeah, so I think as we look at rebuilding as a migration strategy, it's a little bit weird. Like, wait, why are you talking about greenfield when we're talking about moving existing workloads?
Exactly.
And I get it. It isn't the ideal way to migrate, but there are times where your application just isn't performing. It's not doing what it needs to do. It's either technically obsolete, or maybe maintaining it is just too expensive. So while probably no one's first choice, actually, I almost don't even need to say probably, while no one's first choice of how you're going to do a cloud migration, I do think that it's really important that we highlight rebuilding is a valid playbook and path forward to move into the cloud.
Okay. So you touched on how it wouldn't make sense for greenfields, right? Did you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah. So I think as you grow out of your current app and you need to do more, you need to deliver functionality. I think that's where you make the decision that it's time to invest. So a rebuilding, when you're in a greenfield and you need to rebuild your application, this is going to be a very challenging project. It's going to take a long time. While you can do this in phases, typically, if you're in a complete greenfield, there's not going to be a ton of phasing that you can do, at least not in the early days. So really kind of mapping out a plan and following best practices is critical.
Okay. I have a couple more questions, but I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. So I'll kind of, prioritize them. So this looks like a huge investment, right? Rebuilding. Do you think the benefits of such a big project will ever pay off?
Yeah, the ROI is going to take a lot longer to see on a rebuilding project. But when you are rebuilding, you're solving for future challenges and you're giving your ability to scale and scale using the kind of cloud-native tools that that you will be able to utilize after this project is done. There are also some really great ways to make sure you're saving some of that effort. We highlight the haunted graveyard and try to avoid chasing shiny objects. And that's really because your existing application and data is valuable. Use it. Help it influence some of the business logic. While the code itself isn't a copy and paste, as long as your business has the same critical needs, then using some of that business logic is great. And then also, while we would love for you to use every shiny object, and we'd love for you to invest in ways that you could implement AI or Kubernetes in your existing platform, don't let that stop you. Don't let the decision paralysis stop you from moving forward to actually get this built, get this delivered, and start delivering value to your business. So I think we can jump in. I think we can jump into kind of our wrap up since we're running a little long.
Sure.
So yeah, as we're wrapping up, I really want to encourage you all to stop managing your own database. These aren't high value activities for your business typically, so just migrate. So as you're trying to figure out why, or as you're trying to figure out your migration strategy, really start with why. Look at the business reasons you need to do this, not just the technical reasons. So just like you manage your own product, manage your migration. So define why, get stakeholder buy-in, and have clear success criteria.
Okay.
And then,
go ahead.
Yeah. Then the next piece I really wanted to cover on this is make it incremental and mix and match some of the suggestions we've made. So these are kind of the two middle two. They really go hand in hand. Your migration doesn't have to happen all at one time, and you should mix and match your playbooks. There will be times where you should lift and tune, and then there's other times where refactoring will pay off. So replatform is needed, and really figure out a way that you can deliver kind of the most value to your business in the fastest way. And then I know Nicole wants to talk a little bit about our migrations program.
Yeah, so we actually have a fully up and running migrations program for you, and you can access it here. Type into your computer or your phone do.co/migrate, or you can scan this QR code. So we have a couple of offers right now. We offer a free assessment via our partners like Aquazeal, and then we also offer free migration until go live. And then you also will get 6 months of Gen AI resources after the go live period to help build out your apps that you've migrated over. So we have not only expert guidance to help you migrate over, but we have resources to help you get started on DigitalOcean. So a lot of great things going on there. If you have any more questions, go ahead and you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to answer them. But now let's go ahead and get started with our Q&A session. If you're live streaming, you're not going to be able to ask questions on, I think, LinkedIn and X, although I saw someone left a comment on X. But if you're live streaming and want to ask a question, go ahead and scan this QR code. It'll lead you into the studio where you can drop a question. So I wanted to address the first question we had. How can we ensure movement is bug-free if we are live 24/7?
Yeah, so I think that this is particularly important anytime that you're moving data or a large database that has frequent transactions. So as I mentioned, our migration tooling out of the box, it will basically do replication. It will set up logical replication for you so that when the migration finishes, you are completely up to date. So I think that's kind of the most critical way to handle your 24/7 kind of need. We would encourage you to migrate in a time where you have lower volume of activity, of course. I think no e-commerce store should be migrating their database on Black Friday. But look at sometime in January might be it's just a safer approach. So we do have the tools to set you up for kind of that bug-free migration. But of course, we also would caution and suggest that you kind of follow best practices and do what's right with your business. I think the other really great way managed databases helps you do these migrations much more bug-free is they're so easy to set up a new environment. So you could very easily kind of replicate your dev environment and start working on that in DigitalOcean while you keep your existing resources kind of where they're at. And then when you do want to flip the switch and migrate over, you already know your application's fully compatible.
Okay. Let me see. Hopefully that answered your question. I don't see any other questions, but I actually did have one for you, Zach. So I know that going back to the topic of rebuilding, I wanted to touch on the items to avoid. You talk about the haunted graveyard and the chase shiny objects. I just want to know, is that all that we should avoid, or are there other ones?
Yeah, so this definitely wasn't a comprehensive list of all of the projects or all of the things to make sure you avoid. I think when you're looking at a rebuilding, migration, you truly are starting from scratch. And so treat this project just like you would any other project. So follow the kind of best standards that come with product development. And think of this migration as how you are building your actual product. So make sure you have the right systems for source control. Make sure that you're also accounting for like different latency concerns or different concerns you might have with the fact that you're doing things completely differently. So there's this list of things to avoid is definitely not everything. I think we could have 27 more webinars on it just about best practices. But our tip is really make sure you treat this and you resource this fully so that it is treated like your actual product and follow the best practices that come with delivering a product there.
Okay. I think that's fair. Okay, we have 2 minutes left. I just wanted to go on to this slide. So if you are interested in migrating your workloads to DigitalOcean, scan this QR code. Like I said, we have a migration program set up. We have migration experts who are ready to help you migrate. They offer free guidance, which I'll get to in the next slide. We offer free GenAI resources for 6 months. So
I have a question. What does that mean?
So that means that you can leverage our GenAI product for free for 6 months. So that's our new GenAI product. Let me go ahead and put the link in the chat. That means you can build AI agents, custom, fully managed agents, which are backed by our LLMs. But that means like when you can use our GenAI agents for free, that means you can build like chatbots, you can build AI agents that help with internal workflows, you can integrate just general AI into your application. And one thing I want to point out is that you can do this really quickly. Again, it takes like hours, not weeks.
Awesome.
So let me put this in the chat. There we go. So yeah, and then if you visit the do.co migrate, it'll tell you a little bit more about it there. But then I wanted to touch on these offers. So kind of your next step depends on where you're at in your journey with DigitalOcean. For some of you who are brand new, which is why we went over DO a little bit in the beginning, you can actually get 200 credits to start building with us, to sign up. So scan the QR code at the top. And then if you're more interested in, you're familiar with the cloud, the second one, get expert guidance on migration or any other topics, the second QR code would be for you. And then contact sales. If you have any other questions about any products or any of these offers, I would say that the best place to route you is to our sales team. They're very responsive. They will get back to you within a reasonable time. So yeah, I just wanted to leave those up here. Hopefully you're able to scan the QR codes correctly. I tried it myself and I was able to get each one individually. But we will be sending, if you joined us through StreamYard, we'll send you an email with all of these links. And then also, if you peruse our website, digitalocean.com, you'll be able to find these scattered around everywhere. So let me just end the session with putting our website in there. And yeah, I think that concludes our session today, guys. Thank you so much. Zach, thanks for teaching me more about the migration playbooks. I really had an awesome time learning, and I appreciate everyone's participation today. Thank you.
Thanks for hosting.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. See you next time.